The Yorkshire Coastcast with Paddy. Loving life in Yorkshire. The people, the places.
Hello and welcome to episode 58.
This is the coast.
Coming up, motor racing is back this weekend at Oliver's Mount in Scarborough. Race director Andy Hayes invites you. Storm Dave tries his best to spoil the Scalby Charity Walk but fails. And who ate all the pies? Could be you. Thank you so much for listening to the Yorkshire Coastcast podcast from the team at This Is The Coast. We are the local commercial radio station for the Yorkshire Coast on DAB digital radio across much of the region, in fact. Also online anywhere in the world at thisisthecoast.co.uk, on smart speakers, on the app, on Roku TV. And of course, this podcast you can get wherever you get your podcasts from. Right, how you can win a meal at the Piebald Inn Hunmanby on the way soon. Firstly, racing is back. Can't wait. This coming weekend, the Bob Smith Spring Cup at Oliver's Mount. And Andy Hayes, the race director, has told me that they've made some big improvements this year, which means even better bikes, even better riders are coming, which is great for the future of racing at Oliver's Mount in Scarborough. So it's back. The racing at Oliver's Mount returns. How's the off-season been for you?
It's been pretty good in some respects. We have managed to get a couple of holidays in, which has been really needed to refresh after last year. But it's also been really busy. We're always doing works to improve the circuit and facilities and maintenance. But we've also done some pretty fundamental things with the racing as well. Probably key to that, we've got next-gen Supersport bikes allowed from the ACU, and that's the first time that's ever happened here. So that really gets us back up to the level of being able to have top level TT races here. So that's been massive. We've been working with the ACU on that for about 2.5 years now, and it's just come to fruition. Aside from that, we've also had plenty of discussions with the council about the access at the rear of the circuit as well for getting the public in and out over the weekend.
Yeah, and has that all gone all right?
It has gone well, yeah. We're constrained a little bit in what we want to do right now because we need some planning permission for a semi-permanent stone road that we're looking at putting. So we have to wait and go through due process with that. But it does mean later in the season we should be able to improve access even further. And in the interim, North Yorkshire Council Highways have been tremendously supportive, helping us with a plastic track solution so we can get people in and across the farmers' field. So the public access point over the weekend will be from Mushenbank roundabout.
Fantastic, that's great. And you talked about being able to get the better bikes here and stuff. You know, how crucial is that for you going forward for Oliver's Mount's future?
It's been really, really one of those make or break things for us. I say this quite regularly, but without next-gen Supersport bikes, we didn't really have a future. If you think about our top riders that we had in terms of Rob Hodson, Tom Whedon, riders like that, they've all moved to next-gen Supersport bikes for this year. So without next-gen, not only could we not have attracted even bigger names from established TT stars, but we wouldn't have even kept the standard of rider that we had. To get a crowd in, you need good riders. It was absolutely fundamental to us. And
so the reaction then from your potential crowds with the news getting out about that?
Everyone's very positive about it, and I think it's reflected well in sales for the season as well. So ticket sales are up on last year. I think a big part to play in that as well is also the increased exposure we're getting from ITV4. As of the Gold Cup last year, we managed to get Oliver's Mount back on TV. And that's really key as well because it showcases Scarborough to a national and global audience as well. So it really helps put Scarborough on the map, and it will definitely bring more tourism to Scarborough.
But obviously you are really keen, aren't you, year after year to get locals more involved in what's happening up here. It's top quality, you know, first class sport, isn't it, on your doorstep?
It is, and it's the only place in the whole country where we do real road racing. And I do think sometimes the local people in Scarborough don't quite appreciate what we've got here. This is an absolute jewel in the crown for Scarborough. It's massive for motorsport worldwide. And I think, you know, it would be great if more people locally came and supported it because, you know, over the last 5-6 years, there have been times when we've been very close to losing Oliver's Mount, and it's only really been through a lot of hard work, sheer determination, and a lot of help from volunteers and support from riders that we've kept it going. And the more locals we can get to come here, then the more chance it's got of surviving, thriving and growing bigger in the future. And it does do a lot for Scarborough as well. This is our 80th anniversary year. And over those 8 decades, it must have brought absolute millions and millions of pounds worth of tourism into Scarborough. So the area has done well out of it, and I think it'd be great if local people supported it as much as they could.
Well, I always knew when the racing was on at Oliver's Mount because my uncle would come over from Preston and his family. They'd all come over and stay for a bit because they absolutely loved it. So we always knew that the racing was on if he was coming over, which just proves it, doesn't it? It does bring a lot of people to the area. And for those actually locally who think it is just about the bikes going around this circuit, there's a lot more to it, isn't there? The experience here on a weekend there's a lot to it.
Yeah, there is. The crowd are fantastic. We have a beer tent, a marquee, I should call it really, where we've got live music on as well. You can have a drink through the day. You can just walk over to the trackside and watch the racing just passing by, just feet away from you. And the atmosphere and the friendliness of the crowd is amazing. It's not like a football crowd where you've got green versus red, for example. Everyone's on the same side. They might have their favourite riders, but at the end of the day, they're just all here to enjoy themselves, have a great weekend and enjoy the racing. And it's also great for families as well. Under 16s have always been free here, and that continues. So a family of 4, for example, can come for a really good value weekend. You can come in a tent, you can come in a caravan or motorhome, or you can just come for the day. And with the kids being free as well, it's probably one of the best value family weekends out, I would suggest.
So 11th and 12th of April, just give us a bit of details about timings and stuff like that.
Racing starts at 9 o'clock each day. It starts with practice and qualifying Saturday morning, racing after lunch on Saturday, a little warm-up Sunday morning, then racing all day Sunday as well. And we've got live entertainment in the marquee on Friday evening, and on Saturday evening after the racing we've got a free riders chat show, followed by live music into Saturday evening as well.
And finally, this must be quite exciting for you, isn't it? That the build up to that first meeting, but a lot of hard work as well as you're getting everything ready and making even more improvements as well. How is that run up for you?
It always seems to ambush you. You think you've got all winter to do all the jobs you need to do, and then before you know it, you've got about 2 weeks before the first event, and everybody's running around working 16-hour days trying to get it ready. And I don't actually know what changes from one year to the next, why we need to do so much work every winter, but we do.
There's this meet, but there are going to be regular events here throughout the rest of this year, which is exciting, isn't it, for the town?
It is. I think this is it's certainly the biggest year since I've been involved, since 2019. It's probably one of the biggest years ever because we've got 4 full major events. We've got 2 two-day hill climbs, and we've got a round of the British Supermoto Championship coming in August as well. So, and we've also, because it's the 80th anniversary Gold Cup in September, the council have agreed to let us have an extra day for that as well. So we've actually got a total of 15 days racing. And if you look back in recent seasons, that's sometimes been down to 2 or 3. So we're really back where we should be, and we've got a great programme for everyone to enjoy this year.
The Yorkshire Coastcast, loving life in Yorkshire.
And that was Andy Hayes, race director at Oliver's Mount. If you can't make it this weekend, but you are interested in what it's all about, Darren Leatham from our evening show is actually going to be heading there on Saturday morning, the 11th of April. He'll be doing some live radio bits, chatting to supporters, spectators, hopefully some riders as well, and giving you a flavour of the atmosphere and the sounds of the roar of those bike engines as they go out on practice and then race in the afternoon. So Darren's there, popping into Richard Simmons' show on Saturday morning. There'll be lots of pictures and videos on our social media pages too. But you heard Andy there, under 16's free, really good value family day out. Use it or lose it, really. It's looking like a really, really strong year of events there over more days than ever before. So it's all good. And I think if you do go along, you're definitely not going to be disappointed. You're going to have a fantastic time. Right, next on episode 58 of the Yorkshire Coastcast podcast, Easter Monday saw the return of the annual Scalby Charity Walk. Over 200 people, most of whom were in the most amazing fancy dress, walking 6 miles via a few pubs as well in Burniston, Cloughton and Scalby, raising a load of money, about £2,000 in total, amazing, for FutureWorks this year, a great local charity in the Scarborough area. And in fact, we had an in-depth look at FutureWorks on the last episode of the Yorkshire Coastcast podcast. So if you haven't heard that, do check it out. I actually had the pleasure of setting everybody off, the faster ones at 10 o'clock and the more leisurely strollers at 10:30. And before we got underway, I had a chat with some of the participants. Welcome to a very sunny high street in Scalby, and we are getting ready for the Scalby Charity Walk. Goes off in 2 stages, the faster ones first, and then the people who are doing a more leisurely stroll a little later on. Introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name's Tara. I'm dressed up as a kiwi fruit.
You are, yes. Thanks for pointing that out, because it is radio. So, yeah, although you're not fully dressed, but now you're just putting on the top.
Sunglasses.
The sunglasses, yeah. Because every kiwi fruit needs sunglasses.
Absolutely.
And introduce yourself.
And I'm Lizzie, and I'm a strawberry.
You are indeed, yes,
I am
very
a
much so.
strawberry.
And you turned up as a strawberry. Didn't you get out of a car as a strawberry?
No, I just walked.
Oh, you walked. Okay,
Yes.
okay, all right.
Hoping
Okay.
for recognition.
How far have you walked already then?
Oh, just up the hill, from up the hill.
Right, okay.
4.5 miles.
4.5, yeah.
Do you take
Light
part?
up.
Do you take part every year?
Not every year, sadly. But
Yes, I've done it quite a few years, yeah. Didn't do it last year, but yeah, for quite a few years before that, yeah, since we moved to the village.
And people who haven't done it before, what are they missing out on?
it's just great atmosphere, fun, community, bit of exercise, which you need after all the chocolate yesterday.
Yeah,
no, it's
absolutely.
great. Charity
Yeah.
as well.
Charity as well, yeah. It's good fun.
Yeah, and raise money for Future Works, which is a fabulous charity this particular year. And I guess going to the pubs is a bit of a treat as well, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't realise we were doing that. Wonderful.
Did I miss that part out?
No, it's an excellent treat. Yeah, we're very much looking forward to stopping in at all
We
of our
certainly
local
are.
pubs. They're all great, really hospitable.
Yeah, and obviously you can go for a soft drink, but will you be going for something a little stronger?
Well, we'll see how
Yeah,
the morning
maybe.
goes.
Yeah, yes,
We'll
I
see
think
how
that would
it
be the plan.
Yes.
All right, great. And I've got to ask, actually, are you in the faster group or the second group?
Well, I would
No,
like
we're-
to say faster,
We're
but
actually coming with the very hungry caterpillar,
Yes,
whose
we
birthday
are.
is today.
Right.
So obviously, being a caterpillar, she might need to go a little bit more slowly as she has lots of legs.
Okay,
Yes.
you're right, okay. I'm
yes,
looking forward
so
to
look
seeing the
out for
caterpillar.
her
Yeah.
because it is her birthday.
Right, yeah, well, we'll
Yes.
give her a big happy birthday on the microphone.
Cox Tracy.
Tracy,
Yeah,
right, okay.
yeah.
Well, I'll just look out for someone dressed as a caterpillar.
Well, that's it. Hopefully,
You know
there'll
what I
only
mean?
be one.
There'll probably be only one. Right, that's intriguing. Right, have a fabulous day. Thank you so much.
Thank
Enjoy
you
the
very
walk.
much.
Enjoy the walk.
Thank you.
Now, the next bit that we did live on the radio, we also did over the microphone and speaker there. Can we have a cheer from everybody? A couple of people taking part in the Scalby Charity Walk. Lots more coming out in the sunshine to watch everybody set off very, very shortly. And lots of fancy dress on show as well. I've noticed you three. Introduce yourselves.
Not in fancy dress, though.
You're not in fancy dress, okay, all right. That worries me slightly. Introduce yourselves. Where are you from?
Jeanette from Burniston. Jan from Burniston. George from Burniston.
All right, we got Burniston here. Anyone else from Burniston? They're all having some peace and quiet in Burniston, I think, while you're here at the moment. So, have you taken part in the Scalby Charity Walk before?
Yes, lots of times, yeah.
Yeah, and what do you normally dress up as?
It was a nun last year and an inflatable chicken the year before.
All right, and for those who are listening, just explain how you dressed this year. It's hard to explain, isn't it?
Our normal attire.
Your normal attire, okay.
For a Monday morning.
We are
sumo ballerinas.
You are sumo ballerinas.
We've got the moves.
You have got the moves, haven't you? Yeah. At least it's still not windy, because if it was windy, you'd be blown away, wouldn't you? Yeah, because you're inflated, aren't you? I think. Yeah.
We would win.
You would win, yeah. You would. Well, if the wind was going in the right direction, I thought you'd end up in Holland or something. All right. Well, look, good luck. You're one of many people who are dressed in fancy dress today. So, well done. You're doing a great job for Future Works, a wonderful charity you're here as well. Yeah. And you're going to have fun as well. I can only imagine what mood you guys are in after you've been to the pubs.
A little bit.
All right. Give them all a big cheer, everyone. Anyway, everyone who's taking part today, all superstars. Yeah, it was great. And Storm Dave did try to do his best to put a dampener on things. There was a huge tree blown down right across the cinder track. But that was okay, because there was a slight deviation in the route, well marshalled, and everybody enjoyed themselves. And the guy who came first, bearing in mind it's 6 miles, and you stop at pubs, he came back speed walking in just an hour and 5 minutes, which is just incredible, isn't it? And as we said, raising lots of money for Future Works, the incredible charity, who I do urge you to check out by listening to the previous episode of the Yorkshire Coastcast podcast. Should we talk pies?
Pie Day Friday.
Yes, we have a rather tasty regular composition. Starting this week, we are launching Pie Day Friday. Together with the fabulous Piebald Inn in Hunmanby, we have a £40 meal voucher and a bottle of wine to be won. And you just need to listen out for our Pie Day Friday cue to call on This Is the Coast to get yourself in the draw. Known far and wide for their highly acclaimed menu of 52 pies, that's a different pie for every week of the year, the Piebald Inn have much-loved classics, along with tempting recipes not to be found anywhere else. If you do win our weekly competition, you can choose the tastiest one for you. How about the Kentucky Saddle Horse with pulled brisket and diced beef, slowly braised with baby silver skin onions in their own smoky Jack Daniel's barbecue sauce? How hungry are you right now listening to that? Or the Canadian Pacer with salmon, diced potatoes and fresh leeks cooked in a white dill and lemon sauce. Those are just two of the 52 pies they've got on offer. So what do you need to do? You need to listen to This Is the Coast, and you need to listen out for this.
It's Pie Day Friday. Pie Day Friday. Call 01723 336 444.
Yeah, that's what you're listening out for. Obviously, don't call now. This is just a podcast. But that is what you're listening out for. It'll pop up at some point during the day, this coming Friday, and for the next 4 Fridays on This Is the Coast.
Pie Day Friday.
Right, we'll wrap things up on episode 58 of the Yorkshire Coast Cast podcast with some local news that's making the headlines on air and online and on our social media pages too. North Yorkshire Council is exploring tighter controls, including a potential public space protection order to manage unregulated bonfire night activities in Scarborough's North Bay. The potential introduction of stricter regulations comes after alarming reports of dangerous and disruptive behaviour during recent celebrations in North Bay. These unregulated events severely impacted Scarborough's Sea Life Centre, a prominent local attraction dedicated to marine conservation and the protection of vulnerable aquatic species. Management at the facility expressed profound outrage over the environmental and safety hazards caused by members of the public hosting impromptu fireworks displays on the coast. Andrew Clay is the General Manager of Scarborough Sea Life Centre.
Plastics in the sea are a big issue for us. I have to say, we were appalled at bonfire night on the amount of the activity on North Bay, the pollution being fired into the ocean, people firing rockets over the Sea Life Centre, plastic debris entering into our penguin enclosure. It really was an absolute disgrace.
And in response to these distressing incidents, local authorities are now urgently reviewing their current enforcement measures to ensure the safety of both the public and local wildlife. Carl Battersby, North Yorkshire Council's Corporate Director for the Environment, confirmed that the authority is actively investigating methods to prevent any repeat of such behaviour. Campaigners are pushing for year-round bathing water sampling in Scarborough to support a proposed tidal sea pool, while the Environment Agency awaits government funding to extend the testing season. At present, water quality testing is only conducted for 20 weeks of the year, leaving a significant gap in data for the remaining 32 weeks. The push for extended monitoring comes as local campaigners work towards establishing a new tidal sea pool, a project that would attract visitors and residents to the water outside of the traditional summer tourist season. The Scarborough Sea Pool campaign believes the current testing regime is inadequate for those who use the water during the winter months. Here's Karen Shiverall from the Scarborough Sea Pool campaign.
Our aim, quite ambitious but serious aim, is to have a new tidal sea pool back in Scarborough again, and the preferred location for this has been identified as what we call Children's Corner, which is slightly to the south of the main South Bay beaches round from the spa. Having read the papers for the meeting, we do think that current monitoring period, 15th of May to 30th of September, and only 20 times during that period, it doesn't meet the year-round nature. You've heard today we swim and surf and use the sea all year round. So we really want that acknowledged, and we want year-round testing done across all the bays, all the areas, not limited to a small number of testing locations, and we want to be involved in that as far as possible.
Now, the Environment Agency, which handles the monitoring, has acknowledged the situation and expressed a willingness to expand their testing schedule, provided they receive the necessary backing and resources from the government. There are also ongoing scientific challenges involved in accurately identifying the sources of water pollution along the coast. Here's Martin Christmas from the Environment Agency.
I think DEFRA have gone out to consultation on extending that. If we get the green light to do it and they send us some funding to do it, we would love to do it. We recognise that particularly in South Bay goes on when all the other beaches are blown out, and it being a south-facing beach does well in northerly swells. We're using a number of techniques, and the issue that gives us is that the DNA markers for some of the animals and sources that we're looking at are slightly different. So we're basically saying these are the sources that we've got, and they're either a strong or a weak indicator, and we should either consider them or consider them irrelevant. I'm afraid that's the best we can do with the scientific techniques that we've got at the moment.
More on those and other stories at thisisthecoast.co.uk. So, if you listen to this shortly after we've published it, it will still be the Easter holidays and there's still plenty going on. Lots at Eden Camp. Again, more on that on our previous Yorkshire Coastcast podcast episode. But you can listen back to that or click on our features page at thisisthecoast.co.uk and find out about their great Easter egg-scape trail, carrot on a stick, sweet treats for wartime ingenuity, and their propaganda egg art, messages that mattered. And also, you can also find out in our features section about the fun stuff happening to celebrate Eastfield Garden Centre in Bridlington's 50th anniversary. It is very nearly their 50th birthday. The 15th of April will be the big day. But there's loads going on all throughout this month, including 50 incredible offers for 50 years. We've got them all listed at thisisthecoast.co.uk in the features section.
The Yorkshire Coastcast. The people, the places.
Well, thanks so much for listening. Wherever you do listen, leave us a review. A positive review would really help get the podcast out there even more.
The Yorkshire Coastcast.
Loving life in Yorkshire.